Yeah. Today's crazy. Crazy, man. Crazy. It feels like a long time coming. It feels like a lot of hard work paid off. It feels like you're starting to get into groove of things. And really, the crazy thing is that I did not do anything different in my trading. Anything different. I didn't look for anything different than what I look for every single day. The only difference here is I added more size to the position. I went into the position with larger size, and I went into the position with confidence even at that price point. This is a true definition of scaling up, leveling up your trading, finding confidence, finding consistency, right? What I did in this trade that we're going to review, this Netflix swing trade that made me over $50,000, is no different than anything else that you are ever going to see me analyze on this chart and on this channel. It's the exact same break and retest, demand holds, the 20 SMA, right? You guys hear me talk about this stuff every single day, and this trade is no different. The only difference here today is I put more money in the position, and that can talk to the scalability and the possibilities of trading if you can develop a system, develop consistency, and master one thing on the market that you can look for on a daily basis. So in today's video, I'm going to break down the Netflix trade that made me $50,000 today. And then I'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek about a meta trade, which looks very similar, a trade that I am in as well. So guys, let's start this video off with my broker here on the screen for you guys to see. You can see Netflix, a realized profit as of right now, $48,000. Unrealized, another $2,500. So all in all, as we sit, we're up $50,000 on this trade. You can see I also added some next week Netflixes as well right here. Some Netflix 600s for next week. I still like this setup, and I still want to see if there's more upside. So this was a 217% trade. Right now I'm in a 54% trade on the next week's, and I'm also in some meta. I'll go ahead and just click around so you guys can see, no, this is not a screenshot. This is my broker, and this is the day that I had. Really awesome. And it's funny, right? It's funny because I didn't recreate anything that wasn't already here. All I did was add money to the size and add money to the position that I was in. And let's go ahead and sort of break that down and talk through the whole mindset. So here's Netflix. Why did I take the trade? What was the reason before? And real quick, before we go any further, first of all, let me make sure this is scaled correctly for you guys to see everything. Real quick, before we move any further, I just want to let you know, right? This was a trade that was in our Discord community. You guys can see right here, 12:32 yesterday. This was it, right? This was the February 16th, 575s. Our stop was under 568. This was the reason I was entering, which we will talk about this break and retest. And this was all in the group for the people to see today or see yesterday. So where did the analysis start? What got me interested in this trade? What was I looking at that got me sort of intrigued into taking a Netflix position, right? What gave me that spark? Well, first of all, we came into the live stream on, I think it was Wednesday morning, yesterday morning, and we saw that Netflix was getting very close. This was the first thing I realized. It was getting very close to the 20 SMA. So this 20 SMA, this blue line that's on your screen, what you guys can see is that it was moving higher. The average was rising as the stock price consolidated, right? And this is something you will see quite often in the market. When a stock consolidates sideways, a moving average will correct itself in accordance to time, right? It will be a time correction to the price action that's currently going on in the market, right? So you have this price action that's sort of consolidating, and while it's consolidating, your moving averages are sort of pushing higher, right? And they're coming up to match the price action, the consolidation that's happening on the market. And so that was number one. That was something that didn't quite get me into the position. It wasn't like I'm in, right? I'm in with big size here because of that. That's not really why. But I did like that, right? That was something that gave me a little bit extra confidence, knowing that that daily 20, which has been something that's been holding like crazy, even on the NASDAQ market, right? Here's the NASDAQ, the 4-hour on the NASDAQ. Take a look at that daily 20, right? Every time we get close to that daily 20, right, you can see the market pushes off of it. So that daily 20 SMA, seeing that it was catching up to that Netflix price action, gave me a little bit of interest, right? Nothing crazy, but I said, okay, right, a little bit of interest. I was telling telling everyone on the live stream, say, hey, let's go ahead and take a look and see if this little downtrend goes ahead and breaks, right? This was verbatim on the Wednesday live stream here on YouTube for $0.00. This was a free pre-market live stream that we were analyzing the Netflix analysis. So we were seeing, right, that the 20 SMA was rising. We saw we had this consolidation, right? And I said to the group, say, hey, let's look to see if we get something of a breakout here. Let's look to see if this 20 SMA reacts. Let's see if Netflix wants to get a little bit of a push out of this downtrend and look to see if we can get sort of that a continuation move. So coming into Wednesday, right, we got a very aggressive move through that channel, right? You guys can see early Wednesday, we got a push straight above that downtrend. And so it was sort of sparked, right? There was a spark there. And I needed to find my entry, right? Because if we break this down to the 1 hour chart, and this is where we're going to talk about my entry. Actually, we'll go down to the 30 minute, maybe even the 15. 15 might be the best place to see it. So if we go to the 90-day, 15-minute chart, we can see it's the same thing we just looked at with just a little bit more detail. So we have that downtrend, right? That downtrend got broken. Here's your downtrend. There's your 20 SMA demand. Downtrend was broken pretty much exactly off the open Wednesday morning. Now, I didn't just chase it, right? There wasn't just a chase long because we broke the downtrend. There was something that you guys know I love to see, and there was a break and retest, and it was right here. This 568 to 570 level, which was some previous highs, right? So if I'm gonna put this on the chart, anywhere between this 570 and 568 level, which was all in here, there was a perfect break and retest that set up intraday, and this is what got me very interested in the trade. So you can see Wednesday, Friday, and Monday of this week, we had a triple top on Netflix at 568 and 570. 568, 570, 3 days or 3 times in a row. We went right to that level, and we rejected, right? That shows that sellers are there. It can't get above, and we are not going to move higher if Netflix stays under that level. What happened? And I'll even go down to the 5-minute here. What happened on Wednesday, yesterday, that got me so interested in this setup? You can see right here. This was your 568, 570 level. This was the other rejection. Look at just how beautiful this is, man. Look at how Netflix broke over 568, 570, came back down to it, double bottom demand right at that level, and after seeing that, I was sold, right? I was sold. There's another step to it, but that was one of the largest ones. There's one more thing on a little bit of a larger term time frame that really got me interested. But this right here, right? I knew 568, 570 was the level to break. From looking at that 15-minute chart, that needed to break. We broke the downtrend, number one. We held that 20 SMA, and we did an intraday break and retest at the exact supply level that has been rejecting 3 times over the last week. And at that level, we turned it into a perfect break and retest demand hold. There is no difference right here than any other trade that I take, right? And you guys know that. The only thing I did different was add size. So if there's anything you take away from this video, is that if you can get confident with one thing in your trading, if you can find these retest rejections or retest holds, and you can spot how to trade them and manage how to trade these, it is something that you can accomplish, right? Something that you can gain experience with, and over time, you can start to increase the size of your positions once you find success, right? The success and the smaller size starts first, right? You're not going to come into trading and start making $50,000. Impossible. But if you can find the strategy, if you can focus on one thing, if you can really dial in on something to look for every day, you can get confident if you start to find success using it, and you can scale up over time. And that's pretty much the story that I've been sort of experiencing this year trading, right? I knew that I love to trade this strategy. I find success doing it. So why not scale up a little bit? And this is a great example, this trade right here. What else did I see on Netflix that gave me interest to hold this overnight? There is something, right? And I made sure to let the group know, right, all day. You can see right here, posting updates for the group as we trade this. Right here around 155, I was saying that Netflix was building very well, and we were maintaining good structure on the intraday. And so what was I meaning by that? So let's go down to the 2-minute chart, and let me go ahead and show you what the intraday looked like on Netflix, right? So after we entered and we saw that double bottom low, you want to at least maintain what the price action is doing. So what I was spotting, right, on the intraday even, we were just maintaining structure very well. So you had a previous high here on Netflix, previous high here on the intraday, right? And then that previous high, even on the intraday, around 572, turned into a pretty nice hold as well, creating another flag formation, right? Another downtrend and a nice structure flag breakout, right? So even on the intraday, whoops, let's go back. Even on the intraday, after that hold at that 570, right, that double bottom low, that break and retest hold, it was still looking very good on the intraday, right? And look at this strong, the very strong close that we saw. So this, right, this intraday management, seeing higher highs, higher lows, seeing structure build on the intraday, made me confident to hold it overnight, right? And you can see today we got a very nice squeeze, which I was able to profit take on, and then I still hold some overnight, and we closed at the highs today. I'll pull up TradeZella in just a second so you can see all of my entries and exits and share everything with you. Now, the last thing that really solidified everything for me is number one, the daily chart, right? But more than that, this right here, it's just so clean, right? This is a weekly chart on Netflix. And you can see right here, I'm going to go ahead and take off all the drawings and just fresh, clean, nothing on it. All right, you can see right here, this was that 550 demand hold that we were talking about, right? That was that low that was holding on the after we broke out of that trend. This is just a beautiful weekly candle. 1, 2, right? 3, crazy weekly candle right there, closing pretty much at the highs of the previous resistance yesterday. And after seeing this weekly chart and this little setup right here, I said, you know what? Let's go for it. Let's hold this position. It's going to be a little risky, right? I could be down 10,000 tomorrow. You know, I could wake up with a pretty ugly loss. But there was not a single thing, to be honest, there was not a single thing that made me think that Netflix wasn't going to stay strong, right? So let's quickly recap this. Let's go back to my drawing set. Let's go back to the 4-hour chart, and let's just quickly go through the checklist of why I felt so confident to hold this play. Number one, you were coming off the 20 SMA demand. You were coming off that previous 550 level, and the 20 SMA was catching up, acting as a floor on Netflix. Number two, you had a very strong earnings, right? Let's not forget about that. You had a extremely strong earnings, and after those earnings, all you did was consolidate lower. You didn't quite, you never really saw any aggressive drop on Netflix after that very strong earnings. You consolidated lower, right? You can see right here, nice consolidation back to the downside, 20 SMA stepping up, and Wednesday morning, we squeezed above that downtrend. Now, after squeezing above that downtrend, we got over this previous high, right? This major high at 570, 568 that was rejecting previously. And what did we do at that exact level, right? At that exact level, we turned it into an intraday double bottom. And that right there, my friends, is the break and retest in all of its glory. And after seeing that, it was a hold, right? For me, after seeing that, it was a hold. The intraday maintained well. We closed at the highs. And on top of everything, right? On top of all of that, the NASDAQ was strong, and the NASDAQ was coming off a very similar channel low demand, right? Channel low demand. I'm not going to draw this channel perfectly, but you get the point. You were coming off a NASDAQ channel low demand and 20 SMA, and I knew that if that market continued higher, it would influence Netflix to the upside as well. And that pretty much is the story and the analysis that got me into Netflix. Break and retest, once again, something I look for every single day to find entry points, and we do it again here on Netflix. Another stock that looks very similar, right? Very similar to Netflix is Meta. And this is a stock that I am holding overnight. I'm not going to go too deep into this one, guys, but you can see this looks awfully similar. Move higher on earnings, consolidation, a little bit of a downtrend, I would say, possibly a little downtrend break, maybe just a consolidation break, but we are back into these highs. And I would say that if Meta can hold above this 486 area, you could get that same drive on Meta. That's something I would be watching as well. So, guys, here it is. You can see we had about $35,000 in the trade. We had 60 contracts, 60 of the 575 calls. These are my exits today. And I sort of want to talk through how difficult it was, because just for a little bit of fun here, it was very difficult to get out of these contracts today. So you can see just the statistic side of it, 48,000, $76 in commission, 60 contracts, 136% on the trade, $48,000, and I had $35,000 in it to start. The average entry was 586. Damn, was it hard to get out of these Netflix contracts. Coming into today, the spread was crazy wide. So pretty much straight out of the gates, it was a $4 to $5 spread on the contracts, which was very difficult. And every exit I took on this push higher was limit orders. Every single exit, which is very different than what I usually do. But I was setting limit orders, and I was waiting for it to get hit. So I think you'll probably see, right, if I go to my executions, I can just go to Interactive Brokers, so you can really believe me here, right? So straight from Interactive Brokers here, take a look at these Netflix trades, right? This one right here, you can see 945, 13, right? I just set it at 13. 951, I sold them at 1650. I just set it at that exact level. And if I go even lower, you can see right here, 1350. I can probably go to the orders, and you will see, do I have the limits? Here they are, right? Look at this, right? Limit, 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 limit. So I was sort of selling this on limit orders because the spread was so wide, and maybe this is something you could, learn from. If you're trading something with a huge spread, set those limits and just wait to see if it hits. I didn't want to get messed up with the market orders with a $3, $4 spread. That gets a little bit questionable, especially with this kind of size, right? That could be the difference between $2,000 and $3,000. That's a little bit too rich for my taste to not try to get out perfectly. And so I was using those limits as we pushed higher. I still hold, right? And you can see the play is still open. I still hold 5 of them. So I'm holding 5 into tomorrow. You can see right here or I'm holding 2 into tomorrow. You can see in my broker, I still have 2. I have 2 of the metas, 4 of the next week on Netflix, some MRVL and some ARM. And that's about it, guys. So I don't mean for this video to be any type of egotistical, anything like that, guys. I truly, from the bottom of my heart, I want you to understand that I have done nothing different in my trading. And if you've been watching me for a long time, nothing has changed. I look for the exact same setups on a daily basis. The only thing that changed here was the size that I put into it. And that speaks a lot to the scalability of trading once you get comfortable. And I hope that this gives you something to reach towards, something that you can, aim towards, and hopefully gives you some inspiration that you can do it too. So press that like button. Thank you guys for all the support. Crazy day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.